In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to a place at the table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Hello, my name is Adeyinka Olubombe Ogunugbe.
Zuma Yahaya.
Wanaka Okoye.
Kate Henshaw,
Anike Adefunke Treasure.
Elsie Godwin.
Right, Jaja, and it has been an amazing year.
And I've had the pleasure of advocating for different social issues
On a place at the table.
This year, there are 3 specific advocacies that I want to highlight. The Happy Father's Day advocacy for my dad in June. In many countries, the 3rd Sunday in June is dedicated to celebrating Father's Day. It's a day set aside to honor fathers for their roles in the lives of their children and the society at large. It is an opportunity to acknowledge their often unseen hard work, sacrifice, and role as providers, protectors, and mentors. For this year's Father's Day, I want to celebrate my dad, Otumba Emmanuel Adetayo Ogunugbe, an icon of inestimable value who taught his children the value and virtues of hard work and smart work. I recall an incident not long after I finished secondary school in the late 80s. I just completed the UTME and didn't obtain the required cutoff mark to make the admission list. A close family friend came visiting and urged my dad to allow someone else to write the exam for me. He claimed to have done that for his kids in their WAEC and JAM exams. I remember clearly the response from my dad. If they can't pass by merit, then they don't deserve to go to the university. Principles like this that shaped my values and those of my siblings in how we approach our studies as students, our contracts as employees, our roles as spouses, and our patriotism as citizens. Daddy taught us that integrity wasn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life. At home, he was a perfect gentleman who treated my mom with love and respect. Their marriage, now in its 53rd year, is still growing strong. He was all the mentor I needed on how to be a better husband. I hope Yewande agrees. Daddy, I love you, and I appreciate everything that you have done for us. The sacrifices you made when you left National Bank, the struggles to keep food on our table, pay our school fees, and make us smile when we knew things were hard. Daddy, your sacrifice paid off. Your children are doing well, and you have every reason to be proud. To the best dad in the whole wide world, happy Father's Day.
Okay, so
I love you, Daddy. You know that song?
Yeah.
You are my hero, and you're always in my dreams.
Responsible parenting. Zuma said something about planting.
Responsible that they were using on Twitter to blow me a Chakabula.
She was saying something about planting trees, the shades of which you will not see. Now, he raised some generational issues that we thought started with this generation. We didn't know that it was bad parenting of the past that we're reaping now. Exam malpractice, which another father has thought
That is okay to cut corners.
yes, to cut corners, and I'm sure is the ripple effect today we're seeing. So yeah, we need to know as parents that the decisions we take today can have generational consequences. And when we have parents like Otumba Ogunugbe who are sown the right seed, we have to celebrate them.
I could see your shoulder. As we were talking to you about your dad, your shoulder was here on your ears. But well done. Your dad did well. And indeed, I agree that integrity is not a buzzword. It is a way of life. It is not a happenstance. It is something that you do every day. It is who you are. And whether we like it or not, the first foundation or where the society starts from is from the home. whatever we become later emanated from there. I do agree that, yes, people will fall by the wayside despite strict upbringing and discipline. But that is where we are shaped before we now find ourselves in the world. And your dad did great. You're an amazing person, Yinka.
Kate.
We love you, Otumba Ogunugbe.
My dad is the best dad in the world. I don't know. But so I'm going to make this advocacy about me.
Okay.
My dad has more than 20 children.
Hey!
And every one of us feel like we are his favorite child.
Oh.
I mean, it's always a fight on the family WhatsApp. Oh, you're dad's favorite child and him. You are not my dad's favorite child. I am my dad's favorite child, you know. Talking about not letting you leverage nepotism for opportunities. My dad is like that also. You know, say you had, my first UTME, I had 212, and I wanted to study medicine. And then I told my dad, and then he was like, no, that I am not going to take your results anywhere. You have to earn your way through.
That was
At the end of
back
studying
then.
medicine, I studied accounting, but then again, you know, it made me realize that he's never going to put you on for a job. He's never going to tell you, your mates without parents are doing it. If I were not alive, you would have done it.
But unfortunately, I lost my dad when I was, less than 1 year. But everything you have described was my mom for me. But I'm not taking away the shine of men today, right? So, happy Father's Day.
Yes, happy Father's Day.
Okay. Speaking truth to power should also include celebrating our heroes present. I know Kate will agree, and maybe even Andy.
In honor of International Women's Day, I did an advocacy on accelerating action for women, which I spotlighted actionable ways to support women and advance women's social and economic mobility. Did you know that 119 million girls are denied education globally? 34 million at the primary level, 28 million in lower secondary, and 58 million in upper secondary. Did you know that 640 million women alive today were forced into marriage before they were adults? Did you know that 800 women die preventable death during pregnancy and childbirth every day? Did you know that 1 in 3 women will experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime? And did you know that every 11 minutes, a woman or girl is killed by someone in our own family? The place that should be safe is often the most dangerous. Did you know that women globally earn just 73 cents for every dollar a man earns? For Black women, the number is worse. It plummets to 58 cents compared to white men. Did you know that 2 out of 10 early funding opportunities went to women-led companies in 2024? March is International Women's Month, and the theme is accelerating action. But beyond roundtables, panels, and conferences, how do we practically accelerate action? We can accelerate action by investing in girl-friendly schools, providing safe transportation, and creating policies that keep girls learning away from outdated tradition. We can accelerate action by supporting community education, providing economic alternatives, and keeping girls in classrooms, not forcing them into early marriages they are not ready for. We can accelerate action by strengthening healthcare systems, training midwives, and ensuring every woman has access to quality maternal care, so no woman dies giving life. We can accelerate action by enacting robust legal protections, providing survivor support services, and dismantling the cultural norms that perpetrate gender-based violence. We can accelerate action by demanding equal pay, providing affordable childcare, and creating policies that lift women out of poverty, because economic justice is gender justice. We can accelerate action by educating funders to recognize and counter unconscious biases that marginalize women-led businesses and imbibe affirmative action in fund allocation. This isn't just a government's responsibility. It is ours, all of us, governments, civil societies, businesses, investors, and individuals. We must work together. with urgency to create a world where gender equality is not a dream, but a reality. We have the power to change this. We have the responsibility to change this. Let's not wait another minute. Let us accelerate action together for a more equitable future.
One action that we can take to accelerate
Action.
action that you didn't mention, and sometimes it baffles me when I think about it. That is the voting power of women. Electorally, let's even look at it in terms of population. All right, in Nigeria's population, there are more women than men. Electorally, there's a bit of imbalance, and I think there are more men than women. But it's just a question of making sure that there is a lot of advocacy directed to make women go and register to vote. But electorally, if women pool their electoral capacity and their electoral power, all right, we might see a situation where we begin to reverse some of these things. I mean, the conversation in the National Assembly today about Natasha boils down to the fact that it's a boys' club. All right, because when you look at it, 109 senators and only 4 are women. And the boys just decided that, okay, she's had too much, she has her own issues or whatever, and she's just a nuisance that we need to just shut up and that's it. But if there were more women in that assembly, okay, I doubt if the A's will have it.
This thing always comes up when we talk about the women and their voting power. Most women don't have voting powers.
That was what I wanted to address.
Most women don't have voting powers. You can be killed. Some women have been killed for their voting choices. A number of them, they've been threatened with divorce. Some of them have been divorced. If you vote somebody else other than who we tell you to vote for, you know what to pay. And it's not just about husbands. Husbands will control vote, fathers will control vote, brothers,
in-laws,
and all of that. So that's another thing, even in-laws. So as when we look at it, yes, the numbers, we say, oh, women are 50% of the population they really don't have that voting power as much as they ought to have, because their agency has been taken away from them. In this country, it's just like also if we were to say that Nigeria has more population than Dubai, United Arab Emirates as a country, why are they doing better than we're doing? Don't we have more brains? Don't we have more heads? Why are we not using it? So it's the same thing. We're not almost not like citizens. We're subhumans, and women are looked upon as disposable commodities. So how many die here? You die, you go and marry another one.
Agency. Just seeing a woman and knowing that this is a complete adult, a full adult that has the thinking capacity to do anything. We need to get to that point. I'll give a very recent example. Unfortunately, I don't know the senator's name, but there was a video that surfaced online last week. And this video was still related to Natasha's case, where the senator was apologizing to Akpabio and saying, oh, it was my fault, right? And when he was talking, he said something. We wanted to give her that position. We sat down with her husband. What? Yes. Are you serious? We sat down with her husband and decided how we would do it. We are talking about a senator, but for you to give her what is rightfully her role in the House, you had to first of all go and sit down with her husband that nobody voted for, right? So that's just to tell you how deep this goes. It's not just about the person in the house, right? It's even those that you would say, oh, they have means, they have what it is. We still go through this because sometimes we are not seen as people with complete agency. There has to be a man who is, you see that play out too when you probably want to change your name or you want to get a passport. Especially when you're married, you say your husband have to sign, give you consent for you to be able to have that
when you want to do operation.
But one most important thing is that it's good to have these conversations and to keep these conversations going. So if it is in a month, we start to expand these conversations to other days and other months and other for the rest of the year. It's also very important because conversations keep issues going and we can always revisit them. So I think that also agreeing with Elsie in terms of agency, some of us got to learn and understand that everybody is human, from a child to, and a child also has agency. A woman should also have agency. You cannot sit down on your own and say, okay, I want to decide what this person should do, when the person also has an agency to determine exactly what she actually wants, because it's women we are talking about now. And the same thing applicable with children. You know, people should not just sit back and say, oh, this is what I want you to become, this is what I want you to do in your life. No, as we grow, we begin to attain a higher standard of agency, and we can determine what we really want for ourselves.
They say the person wearing the shoe knows where it pinches. The truth is, even if you go barefoot, you will feel the pinch sooner or later.
And as we come to the end of the year, I'd like to leave you with some of my most poignant moments at the table. The dangers of unfettered access of technology or to technology by our children, advocated for it as a tool.
Technology is a powerful tool, but when used without limits, especially by children, it can do more harm than good. Studies show that excessive screen time physically alters brain development, particularly in young children whose neural pathways are still forming. And research indicates that high digital engagement affects the prefrontal cortex, and that's the area responsible for impulse control, decision-making, and social behavior. The result? Shorter attention spans, difficulty managing emotions, and a higher risk of addiction, a major culprit in the dopamine-driven design of many digital platforms. Social media, video games, and endless scrolling apps are built to hook users, much like addictive substances. I witnessed this firsthand when my child started gaming. Almost overnight, I noticed alarming changes, mood swings, heightened aggression when it was time to stop, and an inability to follow a structured routine. But addiction isn't the only concern. The opportunity cost of excessive screen time is enormous. Every hour spent online is time lost for real-world experiences, face-to-face interaction, outdoor play, and crucial social development. Children need to build empathy, resilience, and emotional intelligence. Qualities screens cannot replace. The mental health impact is equally troubling. Research from the University of California, San Francisco found that 9 and 10-year-olds who spent excessive amounts of time on screens were more likely to develop depression and anxiety later on. Similarly, a Yale study linked frequent screen use to mental health struggles due to changes in brain development. And the American Academy of Pediatrics advises that children aged 2 to 5 should have no more than 1 hour of high-quality content per day, co-viewed with a caregiver. These limits help prevent developmental delays and behavioral issues. As parents, we have to be intentional. Delaying smartphones. I held off my children's until they were 14. Setting firm screen time rules and encouraging alternative activities that can make all the difference. The goal isn't to ban technology, but to ensure it remains a tool, not a trap. Let us protect our children's well-being and preserve their ability to think critically. Let's talk about this.
I'm a big advocate of scheduled and intentional parenting. I feel like this could sound judgmental, but I feel like parents will hand over gadgets to their kids anytime they start crying or something. They are being lazy in that particular moment. Kids will always cry over whatever it is they find engaging, but again, you are the adults in that space. You should know the effects and consequences of those things. When my kids were younger, I was very strict about screen time. Screen time now, it's not even gadget, it's TV, and you only have 1 hour per day. And the 1 hour, you have to earn it. If you're off your schedule on the other things you're supposed to do, you are not going to have it. And they are significantly older now. They have gadgets, and we started to manage that by having limited screen time on the gadget itself and also on specific apps to ensure that whatever it is they are consuming, you can see them and you can limit the amount of time spent on it. And beyond overconsumption of screen time, a lot of parents are not even aware what the kids are consuming. I like the fact that you highlighted that parents should sit and don't just give them what to watch. Sit with them to watch it so you can see what it is they're watching.
You need to be deliberate, what she calls intentional. Okay, we need to be deliberate how we raise the kids, what they watch, and what they do. Secondly, I like how you pointed out that you need to set rules. Okay, what is the rule? How many hours? And you have to strictly adhere to the rules. They'll always beg for, oh, another 5 minutes. No, the rule is the rule. You don't break it. Then alternatives, very, very important. These kids are not growing up the way we did. We could walk on the streets, we could run around
Bicycles.
the estate. Things have changed. So we also need to be very deliberate in finding alternatives.
Beyond depression, there's also the problem of anger. So there are withdrawal symptoms starting from anger that these children display. I like that, or rather, I'd like to also say that allowing excessive screen time for your children affects their brains in such a way that they're not able to do what is called critical thinking. Their brains slow down because they're still at the formative stage. They're not like us. We've pretty much formed. But these are kids that are still growing. So it's very dangerous. So it tampers with their ability to think critically. And addiction of any type is dangerous, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, or whether it's screen time, as we're talking today. So it goes back to parents, and it's unfair to allow your child grow in such a way that they cannot be divorced from devices. It is very different from how we grew up, and this is how we came to the point where there is a problem with values.
It's a problem of the reality of the current times. And I don't want to sound like I'm trying to defend parents.
Lazy parenting.
Lazy parenting. But the reality is that we have moved like 2 or 3 generations. When I was growing up, I came back from school, my mom was there. And my father, goes to work and comes back late. But my mom was a teacher. She was home at 3, 4 o'clock.
Same here.
And I spent most of my time outdoors. So I come back from school, grab my football, and then we head to the streets. TV started at 4 o'clock, ended at 12. That was it.
And then as a child, you are also struggling with the parents who watch something.
Exactly. We only have one TV in the house. There was only one screen.
Yes.
Okay, now both the man and the woman, both parents are out there trying to make a living because they have to balance the budget. And now you don't just say, okay, the man's income is enough. So you now find out that
so both parents are not there.
Both parents are not there. So that reality confronts the child. So sometimes when the parent says, just take the tablet, it's not because they don't want to spend time. It's just because he or she is too tired at that particular time to be able to do that. We also have to recognize that there are some children that are referred to as neurodivergent children.
Neurospicy.
They are on the spectrum. And most of these children are actually trained using devices because that's what gets them controlled and regulated.
You need to make out time for your children. And if you cannot make out that time, maybe you shouldn't have them.
And that itself is the core of intentional parenting. Being intentional about when, how, and when you have the children and how you raise them. And outside that, children should be allowed to be bored. A lot of parents do a lot of trying to keep, no. They should be allowed to be bored and self-entertain.
You know what's the real intentional parenting?
Thank you, Zuma.
You know what's real intentional parenting? One of the parents decided to stay at home with the children.
And I'll say it again. Technology is a tool, not a trap.
I've had the privilege to address some core issues on a place at the table. But 3 of those issues stand out for me. I'm not going to go into details. I'm just going to give you like the punchline and you can actually watch and enjoy it. The first one is who owns our future? Tonight, I want to ask a simple question. As Africans, what do we own? Our music, our stories, our culture, everything we create seems to thrive in a platform we don't control. And it's not just entertainment, from transportation to financial technology. The platform driving our everyday lives are owned by individuals and companies thousands of miles away. How did we get here? Africa doesn't lack talent. It lacks the belief that we can lead. Building something groundbreaking requires more than just vision. It requires resources, time, funding, and space to fail and try again. In Africa, failure isn't seen as a stepping stone. It's seen as the end. Jeff Bezos once said, America's dominance in technology comes from the massive capital available for figuring out what works. This isn't just about business. It's about control. When global companies dominate our markets, they're not just taking profits, they're taking power. Every time we rely on a platform we don't own, we give away something invaluable: our data, our influence, and the ability to shape our own future. We've been conditioned to think small, but then again, when resources are scarce, survival takes priority over invention. So, how do we change this? First, we must demand better support for local innovators. Government and investors need to understand that supporting African businesses isn't charity. It is an investment in a sustainable future. We need funding models that prioritize innovation and give young entrepreneurs the chance to build without the fear of failure. Secondly, and most importantly, we must choose to support African-made products and platforms. Ownership starts with demand. If we don't believe in our own, how do we expect the rest of the world to? Ownership means having the power to decide what our future looks like. Let's stop asking for a seat at someone else's table and start building our own.
So while you were talking, the first thing that came to my mind is, reading and saying how, most times when you read novels, growing up as a child, I read a lot, and you always find parents, either the father, mostly the fathers in garage, working, tinkering on something, either doing a car, the kids are there dismantling, doing one thing or the other. And I'm thinking, how often do we see that in our own place, where if you spoil a car, they'll beat you?
Witchcraft.
So the other thing that I was thinking about is that we have this extractive mentality where we are ready to quickly get something. There's nothing like delayed gratification, instant gratification. So we want to grab it. Now, we are not used to research. We're not used to development, even our ordinary lives. Did you see the video of the woman of God, let me put that in quotes, that was praying at a naming ceremony and took a pen and put it in the child's hand and said that in Nigeria, people use pen to add zeros and steal billions, and may that child grow up to be one of those that will steal billions. You didn't see it. Why am I the only one? So she placed the pen, and people were saying amen to that. With that kind of mentality, where are you going to be talking about, developing things that take a lot of time?
Yeah, I mean, you asked a very important question. Advocacy. Who owns our future? And I think the suggestions that you gave in terms of, the things that needs to be done, the two suggestions is very critical. And we have to understand that as of today, our innovators, even if you have a great idea today of doing something, the platforms to which we host them are not owned by us.
Absolutely said so.
And the reason is because, for instance, you need investment in data centers, large data centers, not this small rooms we call data centers here in Nigeria. I mean, like, we are talking about
need a farm.
Data farms.
Yes.
So that is not something that you do overnight. It has to be invested in. Either government decides to invest in that, or the private sector decides to, invest in that as well. You also need servers, huge, massive servers. You need fast, high-speed networks. And these are the things that we don't have, and that's where infrastructure is very, very, very important. And today, we don't have that infrastructure.
I like what you said, which is so true, that when these people come with their platforms, they're not just taking profits, they're taking power, and they're taking data, and data is power. You also spoke about supporting the entrepreneurs. We had a conversation. Now, the entrepreneurs also have to come correct in delivering quality service and being true to whatever funds are being given to them for them to be able to stand on their own. We have a lot of people who lie about money given to them and they're not doing anything right by it. So it's a give and take. And I really hate the fact that as Africa, we are playing catch up on a lot of levels. We're playing catch up, and that's why we always have this slave mentality round about us. Even in our thinking, when we try to, and I was, oh, maybe it's too much, you know, we're playing catch up and it's not doing us any service at all.
Yeah, regarding startups registering in the US, it's largely to improve investors' confidence and also the general perception around the Nigerian banking and regulatory system. A lot of Africans don't understand that the future we want depends on what we do now. We don't process it that way. We keep praying for a better future.
Right.
But what are we doing towards achieving a better future? Like you said there are no resources in Africa, right? There is a huge resources gap, funding gap, and you cannot innovate from a position of lack. So as far as we are still getting our resources from the West, they are always going to own our platforms. And also the ability to fail and try again is a luxury a lot of Africans cannot afford. You know, we see a lot of companies close down in the US and then nobody is making noise about it. But one company randomly closed down in Nigeria. It's like, oh, whatever company that raised $3 million, blah, 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 closed down. Yes, it closed down. If you're investing in a startup, you should also be prepared that this is not something that is guaranteed.
Be prepared to fail.
We are testing. We are trying to see if it would work.
As I've said, survival isn't strategy, but rather invention, problem solving, and implementing the right policies.
My very best moment would be the advocacy I did on the indigenization bill. It garnered 6,000 views on Yoruba Times, and as I speak, it's gathered more than 50,000 views. But the most important thing is that that bill was dropped at the end of the day because of the passion in the advocacy. I also got a lot of people sending that video back to me. Honorable Benjamin Kalu, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, sponsored a controversial indigenship bill that seeks to grant indigene status for any Nigerian born in a state or who has lived there for over 10 years with good conduct. It was rejected by the discerning assembly. At the ongoing constitutional review, Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State brought it back to national consciousness by saying indigeneity will foster inclusiveness and a sense of belonging among Nigerians. I think that's a deceitful statement meant to lead this country into war, and I'm calling it out. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, in his book, Thoughts on the Nigerian Constitution, said, and I quote, "If you examine the structure of Switzerland, you'll find that the religious, linguistic, and other differences have dictated a federal constitution. Such a federal structure has ensured peace and progress for the Swiss. Already, Nigeria is witnessing tensions where outsiders seek to dominate Aboriginal populations. In Lagos, migrants call Lagos no man's land, challenging Yoruba political control and threatening chaos. In the Middle Belt, thousands have been massacred as ethnic militias seize lands from indigenous peoples. In Warri, migrants, despite court rulings recognizing them as tenants, still seek to usurp Shekiri lands and political power there. Other indigenous peoples in Akwa Ibom, Ondo, and Edo are also pushing back. And according to Lord of Warri, an Ishekiri activist and historian on X, the proposed indigenization would allow large tribes to seize control of minority lands by sheer numbers. They will be electing local government chairmen and kings over lands their ancestors never owned. Minority ethnic groups will be annihilated within a century, politically and culturally. Bloody conflicts will dot the nation as indigenous groups begin to resist the invasion. Our fragile federal balance will be destroyed. Why? Because every state will be turned into a battlefield between host communities and legally empowered settlers. So, Governor Hope Uzodinma will take his family out of the country for safety,
when the consequences of what he's proposing balloons, let me say it as it is. Governor Uzodinma is couching bloodshed in beautiful words. So I tell you, Nigeria, wake up. Indigenization is warmongering. Do not let it sneak into Nigeria's constitution.
Those who want to claim to be indigent or the right to be indigent, they have a valid point. When you look at certain context, for instance, taxation. So I took myself as an example. I am born in Lagos, but I'm originally, ancestrally from Remo, Shagamu in Ogun State. I can claim to be from Shagamu. I can also claim to be from Lagos because I was born in Lagos. I schooled in Lagos. I've worked in Lagos. I've paid my taxes in Lagos. And Lagos State government collects my taxes every month, all right?
And citizenship.
They collect my taxes every month. And so if I pay to the Lagos State government every month, don't I have a right to stake certain, claims as an indigent in Lagos? And I think that is valid.
The two key words in your advocacy that I wrote down is migrant and invasion. Wait, like what? Like, bro, what is going on? Like, wait, migrant, immigration, invasion. Let me balance this out. I think I would be considered as, if we follow what you're saying, I'll be considered a migrant.
Yeah.
Because in Abuja, because my entire life, I was born there. My entire life is Abuja. If I tried to go and relocate to Port Harcourt, I would find it difficult to leave because my entire structure.
Where you're from.
Where I'm from. Where I'm from really is like
your state of origin.
Yeah, my state of origin, because when somebody asks me, who are you and where are you from? I say Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. Shikena.
How does the law define an indigent? We have citizenship. We have indigenship. The Constitution defines who is a citizen, but does not define who is an indigent. So we need to decide, and probably that is where the steps and conditions that Yinka talked about, who is an indigent. Because even if we start tracing all the way back to centuries, those people that were there centuries ago came from somewhere.
It is, like I said earlier, it's nuanced, it's complicated, and it's also it can be very personal as well, because I was born in Lagos. I've done almost getting to 40 years in Lagos, right? So it's almost like Lagos is what I know.
That's what you
right? Indigent and citizenship, you rightly spoke my mind. There are two things that Nigerians need to sit down and decide, also because of our peculiarity. Like you said, 350-something languages is not child's play, right? So there is a lot that needs to be done. There's a lot that needs to be said. But at the core of doing all that is humanity. And also understanding that we are supposed to be first Nigerians. This is not taking away your roots. I'm an Igbo person, I don't play with it. Regardless of the fact that I have lived here, grown up here, I speak Yoruba, I speak Igbo, but at the core of it, I'm Igbo at heart, right? So we're not saying take away that. What Governor Hope Uzodinma, in fact, I didn't think in my life that I'll be supporting one politician. But what he's saying, I don't think, of course, he's calling for bloodshed. No, he definitely won't be doing that, even if he won't be doing that, right? So we need to really sit down and also think of identity. Because we've talked of indigene, we've talked of citizenship. If I was born in Lagos, I've done everything in Lagos, I have registered even now. See, if Lagos State government has opportunity to give people, they'll probably give me first than some people. Because I've registered under LASHRA.
All right, it's a difficult conversation, but a conversation that we must have as a nation. Some want to reap where they haven't sown or even invested in the process of germination. And this goes against the laws of nature and also could be a recipe for injustice. This conversation we must have.
It's been an eventful year, and I've had the privilege and honor to raise and interrogate multiple issues on a place at the table. As we round up the year, I'll leave you with my best moments at the table.
In 2012, a Dutch teenager accidentally made her 16th birthday party invite public on Facebook. Now, inspired by the movie Project X, over 350,000 people RSVP'd, turning it into a riot scene.
Netflix's new documentary, Trainwreck: The Real Project X, shows how one viral post spiraled into chaos. Not because social media is evil, but because no one paused to ask, where is this leading? Fast forward to Nigeria in 2025, when 20-year-old TikTok sensation Pella, a school dropout, announced a 500,000 naira a month cameraman role requiring a master's degree. Well, over 20 postgraduates showed up. It quickly became content, the spectacle, the punchline. A female applicant later said she felt misled and used for content, that she left her house chasing employment and ended up in a skit. And it gets worse. In another clip, Pella boldly claims Nigeria only has 3 tribes. No, he wasn't joking. He dismissed the ethnic identity on camera. A painful reminder that viral fame doesn't require even the most basic civic knowledge. Just confidence, Wi-Fi, and vibes. This is not about Pella. It's about a system that has collapsed so spectacularly that we now respect visibility over value and confuse digital fame with qualification. A country where cultural erasure is shrugged off because the algorithm favors audacity over accuracy. Social media is not the villain, it's the mirror. Since its inception, it has been both a blessing and a curse, largely dependent on how we choose to use it. But when clout becomes the national curriculum and our youth learn more from TikTok than textbooks, we must ask, what future are we building and who is teaching it? Pella's belief that Nigeria only has 3 tribes is more than ignorance. It's a systemic indictment of a collapsed curriculum that prioritizes theory over civic literacy, a performative patriotism that teaches national anthems but not national identity, an education culture that rewards cramming over understanding. Because let's not forget, he went through basic education. So this isn't about one influencer. It's a national warning sign, and we better not scroll past it.
If they are not learning from textbooks, they'll be learning from
TikTok.
Somewhere else. So I think you are spot on. We need to really focus on our education system, on the curriculum, and the topic which I want to speak about. People now look at this content creation and stuff like this as I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but that is not, I'm not sure 1 million people should wake up and aspire to be content creators thinking they'll all succeed. You know, if they had good things to do with their time, proper jobs, I think, and a good education, as you've said, I don't think we'll be in this situation. So
one thing I always tell people is a lot of people are loud and ignorant. They are very loud about their ignorance. And one thing I'm going to disagree with in your advocacy is the fact that Pella not being able to, not knowing that we have more than 3 tribes in Nigeria is an indictment on the educational system. I would say, while we were in school, we had social studies. Yes. My kids in school now, they do civic education, and this is compulsory from primary through secondary. So that is a failure on him. It chose not to learn. I don't know, maybe at what point, maybe he missed the class. I mean, you're literally, part of the curriculum includes you drawing a map of Nigeria and identifying the different tribes. Like I've done this to my children multiple times. So him not knowing that, it's literally on him.
Me? Oh, wow. Yes, your ignorance is definitely an individual thing. As much as you have affected your society, but you are the one carrying the shame, the tear cloth. Education can never be a scam. I will never regret my years of growing up, school, social studies, history, being able to draw the map, name the River Niger, and all our governors, and we knew it, but they removed it. So what else do you want? I grew up reading books like Famous 5, Secret 7, reading books, learning words, how to spell, how to read and write properly. But viral fame, like you said, doesn't demand their brains. It can just be empty with a coconut head, no water inside, and you just blow just because. But this same social media is where others are making huge headway with it. Same, it depends on what you're seeing. Me, my feed it's exercise, it's motivational quotes. I don't even see anything that is rubbish. So it's what you choose to feed your eyes on. That's what's going to keep coming into you. Hearing, I mean, what's the Bible quote again? Doing the word of God comes by faith, comes by hearing and hearing by the word of God. You read. If you're not reading, what you're hearing is breeze, next thing in and out. So
I was speaking with my brother 2 days ago, and we're analyzing a place at the table. And he was talking about the richness of the content and about how a lot of people need to tune into the program, listen, because they will be educated. Remember, we had Maji here last week, and Maji was also talking about how, even though he's a host, he was also educated. And it's the same thing with me, and I think every other host here, that as much as we contribute, we also learn.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, shows like A Place at the Table will not
go viral.
The kind of content that we talk about is serious. But it's the kind of content that needs to move this country forward. But fortunately, it's the kind of content that that young man is pushing out that is getting the attention, the traffic, and is also getting the monies in. And we need to get back to the basics. And I won't blame you, Kate, but people in with, I don't want to say your generation, I mean, mentors like you should be the, I don't know what's the word, should be the face, should be the ones
more visible in advocating for
that these young content creators, because essentially they're trying to do what you do, but they're doing it in the way that the current,
they have no idea.
So, but there's no professionalism, there's no regulation, there's no standard.
They say that those who fail to learn from history are bound to repeat its failures. Let's not scroll past those national teachable moments.
I've had the privilege of raising and interrogating several issues this year at A Place at the Table. As we wrap up this year, I'm going to leave you with my best moments this year at the table. As we navigate the complexities of 2025, it's essential to develop strategies that promote resilience, growth, and well-being. Here are some of my key tips to help you survive and thrive. Stay informed and adaptable. Stay up to date with current events, trends, and technological advancements. Be open to new ideas, perspectives, and opportunities. Prioritize self-care. For me, this is so important. Take care of your physical, mental, and emotional health. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Practice mindfulness and seek support when needed, of course, from trusted allies. Build strong relationships. Nurture meaningful connections with family, friends, and your community. Invest in relationships that uplift and support you. Focus on personal growth. Continuously learn, develop new skills, and challenge yourself. Pursue your passions and interests. Cultivate resilience, so important. Develop coping strategies. Practice gratitude, which is a good attitude, and focus on the present moment. Learn from setbacks, use them as opportunities for growth. Stay connected to your purpose, reflect on your values, your goals, and your aspirations. Align your actions and decisions with your purpose. By incorporating these tips into your daily life, you'll better be equipped to navigate the challenges. Remember to stay flexible, prioritize your well-being, and focus on personal growth. With resilience, adaptability, and purpose, you will be well on your way to surviving and thriving. in these times, I dare say.
For the sake of your mental health.
You don't want
the
to
only
keep
thing
up.
that's making me keep up is this show, really, because we have to keep up to advocate for the right
But you don't
things,
want to
right?
wake up tomorrow and find out that something is happening and you are not aware of it.
That something is happening, except I'm the one that caused something that is happening. But me being aware is not going to change anything. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I'm saying maybe because I've also been in a position where I've had to take in a lot of information due to media work. So when I had the opportunity to step away, I really
truly
stepped away. Because you wake up today, you see that something is happening in Abuja, it's happening in Lagos, the whole world, and it's just really scary. Sometimes, even when you zero down into Nigeria, you're wondering, is it my own head that is not working? Or why are people doing this and it seems normal? Because you know it's not normal, you know things can be better. So for me, I try to balance it when it comes to current news. But everything, like you said, prioritize self-care. Physical, mental, you are the queen of physical health, well-being, right? But mental is also very important.
very.
Emotional, then personal growth. I like to say that who I am today is a product of personal growth.
You know, we always talk about different social issues, government policies, and all of that. But sometimes we really need to talk about the core things that that involves in our daily life.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us just live life on autopilot.
Yeah.
Like you wake up in the morning, it's like, let's just go through the day.
Yeah.
But there's something I saw yesterday. You said for you to be a master of something, you have to repeat it over and over again.
Yes.
But what people don't also understand is when you're not repeating something, you're being master of something else that you don't even know. Because what you're subconsciously doing that you don't know that you're doing is actually being master of that thing.
Yes.
Because you're doing it a lot.
Yes.
And so when you find out that your life is going a certain way, you're asking yourself, and why is this happening? It's because you're mastering doing nothing. Basically, you're a master of doing nothing. Right? You're a pro. Like, if there is a contract for people that do nothing, you probably win
Get the prize.
You'll be awarded that contract. So I think it's important for you to be very very intentional with your life. You wake up in the morning, you every single hour. What I do is every single hour of my day, I have what I call the personal operating system. Every single hour of my day, there's something that I'm doing. So that I'm reading a book, I'm working on this proposal, I'm working on this project. Literally every single hour. At the end of the day, I sit down and I reflect. If you can't just live your life like
just for living
like a social
sake.
media post that people are commenting on. Like you need to live your life intentionally.
There's so much I can take out of your advocacy. It sounds like a master class in personal development. And there's so much, but I'd just like to focus on two. The first part is where you stay informed and adaptable. Stay up to date with current events. So I disagree with you. It's absolutely important. It's my turn. Don't
like Trump is the new daddy, right?
Please, it's Yinka's turn.
It's absolutely important that you stay up to date with current events, because it basically sets the pace of how things will be. But I'll take it further as well, that you also have to think about tomorrow. How is the current trend impacting tomorrow?
You see that current affairs, current news? Nah. For me, up until 2013, let's say 2014, I didn't know Nigeria existed. I had to just take myself out of current affairs because I felt if not for the books I read, I would have been very, very ignorant of what was going on. Because there's so much. And then when you're empathetic, it's just like you wake up, so number of people have been killed. For me, it's just not numbers. I have what they call survivor's guilt. Then I'm thinking, that could have been me. That could have been my kids. It could have been this. And then the next thing, why am I not the one who is dead? And that's why I started that yesterday's victims. When people tell you, they just feel like it's sleep. And no, it was deep for me because I keep telling myself, I could have been the next one. So sometimes to protect yourself, you just stay away from the current news and all the happenings that are out there. But of course, you need to, after my 40th birthday, I realized that I also had become the problem of the country by not interfering, by not saying anything, by just minding my business and just doing my trading and looking for money. And so I love your advocacy. One thing also I will add is that live life on your terms.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
1000%.
Let the society say this. This is what you want, this is how you want, and this is how you want it. Because there's only one you in this world. Every one of us say we are an endangered species. There's no other Yinka. There's no other Ketensha. There's no other Yinka. There's no other Aisha. You understand the way it is? So live your your life on your own terms, and then let the child in you live.
Oh, I always say, never lose your inner child.
You know,
never, ever,
my 3-year-old is still here. Like yesterday morning, I just felt I was going out. Is this music? I just told my chef. I just said, hold it there. I just jump in my sitting room, and sometimes I just dance. No, it's not musical. Hey, we gonna dance.
No, I can never turn back.
Sometimes, you know, my daughter will say, "Mommy, do you know you behave more like a teenager than I do?" But you know, the thing is that it makes you now just live life on your own terms, just do your thing. But most importantly, also conflict. People think conflict, just letting them go. And just let them be.
Let it be, let it go.
Tackle it head on.
Yes.
If somebody come at you, go at them.
Go.
Then you know what? Give them the headache.
Okra for okra, ewedu for ewedu,
I say give
ora
them the
for
headache.
ora.
Then you go and sleep. You see that? Let us be nice. You know what happens? You keep piling them. After a while,
Deal with it head on.
It becomes too much. Yeah. But most importantly, financial independence.
So to everyone at home, I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
That's it.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Until then, see you next year. Merry Christmas. Love always.